My fiancé, also the CEO, announced my half-sister's pregnancy at the launch party for the product I built. I froze his trust, fired her for misconduct and told them, "You were just guests in the life I built." They held the launch party on the rooftop of the Corinthian in downtown LA. All glass railings, sky-high palms and servers in black tuxedos weaving through clusters of tech influencers and investors holding cucumber spritzes. Cameras snapped as the sun dipped behind the skyline, casting golden light on the massive digital banner that read, "Introducing the HoloLens, the future of immersive living." I stood near the bar, nursing a lime water, pretending to enjoy the view. "My name's Aria Sullivan. I'm 34 years old, CTO of HaloCore Technologies, or at least I was. I co-designed the HoloLens from scratch. But if you listen to the speeches tonight, you'd think I was just part of the scenery." Leo, my fiancé and the CEO, was the main act. He wore his signature midnight blue suit, teeth gleaming as he spoke into the mic like some kind of visionary prophet. "Tonight marks a revolution," he said, flashing that easy grin he always used to get what he wanted. "And it wouldn't be possible without our incredible head of marketing, Ivy Sullivan." I stiffened. Ivy, my half-sister, 10 years younger, born to our father's second wife. Same dad, different planets. Leo raised his champagne flute, his other hand resting casually on Ivy's stomach. "Ivy," he said, turning toward her, "you've not only brought brilliance to this campaign, you've brought joy into my life. This is the most exciting chapter of my life." The murmurs started. Someone near me gasped softly. Ivy's smile widened like a Cheshire cat. She placed her hand over his and said, loud enough for the mic to catch it, "We're expecting." The crowd erupted. Cheers, claps, phones shooting up to record the moment. I stood frozen, the flute in my hand trembling slightly. I couldn't feel my feet. Somebody behind me whispered, "Wait, wasn't he engaged to the CTO?" I looked at them, just looked, and then turned away. No screaming, no tears, just ice. I walked calmly toward the edge of the crowd, took out my phone and dialed. "Hi Nora. I need you to file the separation paperwork. Immediate. And freeze all pending transfers from the company to Leo's trust accounts." There was a pause. Then I added, loud enough for a few nearby reporters to hear, "He'll understand. After all, it's his baby, and his betrayal." I hung up, pocketed my phone and glanced back at them. Ivy was glowing, hand still on her stomach, as if she'd just won some prize. Leo was blinking rapidly, trying to smile for the cameras. I didn't smile. I just stared. And for the first time that night, it was Leo who looked unsteady. That night, after the rooftop circus ended, I didn't go home. I drove until the lights of the city gave way to the dark hills outside Pasadena, and parked in the lot behind an all-night diner. It was empty except for a waitress reading a paperback and an old man sipping coffee at the counter. I didn't order anything. I just sat in a booth and let the past crawl out of its corner. Ivy was always the golden one. She used to wear these sparkly plastic tiaras as a kid, even to the grocery store. People fawned over her. The curls, the dimples, the way she'd hug strangers like they were her long-lost friends. Meanwhile, I was the quiet one. The one our dad said was built for pressure. I guess that was supposed to be a compliment. Our mom died when I was 10. Cancer. I still remember the smell of disinfectant in the hospital room. After that, it was just me and Dad for a while. He worked long hours back then, so I mostly raised myself, and by the time Ivy came along, I already felt like a guest in my own home. Celeste, Ivy's mom, made sure of that. She had this way of smiling while saying things that cut straight through skin. Aria's always been intense. She once told my high school boyfriend, like I wasn't sitting right there, "She's got that engineer brain. Doesn't really relate to people." I was 14. That same year, Ivy got a solo in the school play after missing half the rehearsals. "She just lights up the stage," Celeste said proudly. "Aria, maybe you can help with the lighting?" That was always my job. Make things work. Stay useful. Take the high road. Even when Ivy borrowed my science fair project and won the district award. Even when she wore my dress to prom and claimed it was hers. Even when Leo brought her on to consult on a brand redesign. And suddenly she was the face of the campaign I spent 2 years developing. That night, sitting in the diner, I stared out the window and realized something gutting. They had all known. Celeste. My father. Probably even Ivy's assistant. Hell, maybe half the board. And I, the one who lived with him, worked beside him, built this company brick by brick with him, was the last to find out. The next morning, I walked into our father's house in Santa Monica unannounced. He was having coffee on the patio, dressed in his usual crisp linen button-up like he didn't just help destroy my life. "Aria," he said, eyes flicking toward the open glass door. "You should have called." I figured you'd be busy, I replied. Celeste appeared in the doorway, her silk robe cinched too tight for breakfast. Let's not make this personal, Arya. This is about the company's future. Ivy and Leo are liars, I said. Her smile twitched. They're visionaries. Together they have reach. I laughed the low, bitter sound that didn't belong to the version of me they used to talk over. You all knew. Dad didn't deny it. Just looked down into his mug like it held answers. I stepped back from the patio door. You picked her again. That's fine. But don't expect me to carry the weight for you anymore. And I walked out. The press were still lingering near the valet circle when I stepped outside the Corinthian. Flashbulbs went off like fireflies on steroids. I wasn't sure if they were there for the product or the scandal. Probably both. I found Leo and Ivy near the fountain by the front entrance, flanked by a few shell-shocked interns and our newly hired PR rep who looked like she wanted to crawl into the marble landscaping. Ivy was radiant in that way only someone without a conscience could be. She rested one hand on her belly like it was a designer handbag and waved to someone snapping photos. Leo was trying to act calm, but I could see the sweat beading behind his ears. I walked straight up to them. Smile, you too, I said. You're trending. Ivy turned to me, that smug smirk plastered across her face. Arya, I know you're upset, but I said flatly. Don't pretend you care how I feel. She blinked. It just happened, okay? Things aren't always so black and white. I cut her off. You slept with my fiancé. While working under me. While building the company I co-founded. That's not a gray area. Leo stepped forward, hands raised like he was soothing a wild animal. Let's not do this here. We'll talk at home. There is no home, I said, my voice quiet but cold. You were just a guest in the life I built. His jaw clenched, but I could see it, the flicker of panic. Because I wasn't screaming. I wasn't breaking down. I was clear. Calm. Dangerous. From the corner of my eye I saw Celeste approaching. She wore her concerned mother face, the one she reserved for charity events and photo ops. Arya, sweetheart, let's not escalate this. You know the company can't handle a scandal right now. Investors are watching. I turned to her. You should have thought of that before you all blindsided me. She opened her mouth to speak again, but I raised a hand to stop her. Here's what you don't know, I said, now addressing all of them. While you were too busy underestimating me, I was taking care of things. Leo blinked. What things? I pulled out my phone, scrolled for a second, and held up the screen to him. His face drained of color. What is that? Ivy asked, trying to peek. I turned to her. It's the corporate structure. The real one. The one where I'm the majority shareholder. The one where all the patents, the core algorithms, the headset design, the neural sync technology are filed under my name. Silence. Leo, I added, your shares are contingent on marriage. Or rather, were. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I wasn't done. And Ivy, your employment contract has a clause. A very specific one. You may want to revisit the section on conduct unbecoming and conflict of interest. Her jaw tightened. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Reporters were moving closer now, sensing blood in the water. I gave them nothing but a polite nod. You want support? I said, stepping back. Let's make it legal. And then I walked away, past the cameras, past the whispers, past the wreckage of two people who thought I was their pawn. They finally saw it. I had been the queen all along. The next morning, I met my legal team at a downtown office suite that smelled like fresh paint and espresso. Nora, my lead attorney, was already flipping through documents, her glasses low on her nose and a smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth. You really like dropping bombs in public, huh? She said without looking up. I sat down across from her. You know I only do it when necessary. Sure, she murmured, tapping a document. Well, I went over everything last night. You're clean. Every patent is airtight. Your name is the sole filer, and Leo has zero legal claim. The prenup protects all premarital assets, including your equity. I exhaled slowly. And Ivy? She flipped to another tab on her tablet. Her employment agreement includes a moral conduct clause and a conflict of interest clause. A romantic relationship with the CEO without disclosure? That's two separate violations. Terminate. Nora nodded. With cause. No severance. And we'll craft the paperwork so tight she won't wiggle through if she tries to sue. I leaned back. Good. Let's do it. We spent the next 2 hours drafting an internal strategy. Ivy's dismissal would be low-key, no drama, just a brief announcement that she'd resigned to pursue personal projects. Leo, on the other hand, would remain CEO in name only until the board met for a vote of no confidence. Nora advised patience. Let him spiral, she said. The board needs to see him as a liability. By lunch, we had a timeline, a plan, and a new title for me, acting CEO, effective immediately. While Nora finalized documents, I scrolled through my inbox. 200 unread emails, a few dozen press requests, and one unread message from Leo. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Instead, I tapped over to a private Slack thread I'd set up with key members of our engineering team, the ones who'd always had my back. Starting Monday, I wrote, we shift focus to Gen 2 development. No delays. We lead from the code, not the drama. That afternoon, Ivy and Leo were holed up in his penthouse. According to a source, okay, fine, a junior developer who texted me screenshots, Ivy was pacing barefoot, mascara smudged, while Leo stood by the window, drink in hand. She's not even answering my calls, Ivy said. She will, Leo muttered. She always listens. You think she's doing this because of the baby? He didn't answer. She is, right? Ivy's voice cracked. You didn't even want a baby. You just thought you could use me to get her shares. Leo stared out the window, silent. Ivy swore under her breath. Tell me that's not true. He turned slowly, glass dangling from his fingers. I don't know what I thought. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was the sound of a partnership unraveling, not built on love or loyalty, but on a mutual misunderstanding of who held the cards. Spoiler alert, it wasn't either of them. I got home around 9 p.m., kicked off my heels at the door and dropped my bag on the kitchen counter. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that used to unsettle me when Leo wasn't around. Now it felt like a gift. My penthouse looked different without him. Cleaner. Lighter. I had replaced the pretentious glass coffee table he insisted on with a soft cornered oak one that didn't stab you in the shin. His stupid record collection, the one he never played but always bragged about, was gone. Donated. I poured a glass of wine, walked to the window, and just stood there, watching the city lights flicker like nerves coming back to life. At 11:43 p.m., the doorbell rang. I didn't have to check the peephole. I already knew. Leo stood there, hair messy, shirt half-tucked like he thought looking disheveled might buy him sympathy. He held no flowers, no apology gift. Just that same wounded expression he always used when charm didn't work. Aria, he said, voice low, please. I didn't say a word. Just stepped aside and let him talk. I messed up, he started. But it wasn't what you think. It was never serious with Ivy. I got confused. I thought we were drifting. I sipped my wine, leaned against the kitchen counter, and waited. He kept going. This baby, it wasn't planned. She told me last week. I panicked. I thought I could fix things with both of you, but... He trailed off. But you got caught, I finished. His eyes darted to the floor. Yeah. There it was. No fight. No anger. Just a man slowly realizing he didn't have a backup plan. I know I don't deserve it, he said, stepping closer, but I'm asking anyway. Can we try again? Just talk. I stared at him for a long moment, then gestured around the apartment. Everything you ever touched in here, the coffee maker, the TV, even the balcony furniture, I paid for. I chose it. You just lived in it. He blinked. I designed the product, I continued. I coded the core. I built the team. You gave speeches. You took credit. And you cheated. Leo's face crumpled. I was scared of losing everything. You already did. I walked him to the door, opened it, and waited. He hesitated. You're really not going to forgive me? No, I said simply. You made a choice. And I made one too. The door closed behind him like the click of a lock sealing off the past. 3 days later, Ivy called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice trembled. Leo left me. I think the baby might not even be his. I'm broke, Aria. I need help. Please. I played it twice. Then I deleted it. The knock came on a Wednesday afternoon. I had just wrapped a Zoom call with our Tokyo development team when I heard it. Sharp, fast, too desperate to be casual. I didn't answer right away. Something in my gut told me who it was. When I finally opened the door, Ivy was standing there. Barefaced. No makeup. Her perfect hair tied into a sagging bun. She wore one of those oversized sweatshirts that college kids live in, nothing like the sleek dresses and curated Instagram outfits she used to strut around in. Hey, she said, voice small. I didn't say anything. Just stepped back and let her in. She stood in the middle of my living room like she didn't recognize it. Her eyes darted to the empty space where Leo's vinyl rack used to be, then to the photo on the bookshelf, me and the engineering team at our first product demo. Her lips pressed together like she might cry. I didn't offer tissues. I lost the apartment, she said quietly. The lease was in Leo's name. Once he left, the landlord gave me 2 weeks. I folded my arms. Your PR contract's been terminated. You know that, right? I know, she whispered. Investors pulled out. One even called me a liability. Said I was a distraction to the brand. She didn't say it like she was surprised, more like she was finally seeing the ripples she'd helped create. My mom won't help, she added. Says I need to figure things out myself. Dad hasn't returned my calls. Everyone thinks I'm toxic. Maybe they're right, I said. She looked up, eyes glistening. Aria, I know I screwed up. I was stupid. I thought he loved me. I thought. Maybe if I had something of yours, I could finally be important. There it was. The confession. The core of it all. I was always the extra, she said, voice breaking. The pretty one. The baby. You were the one who built things. I just borrowed. I walked to the window and stared out at the city below. You didn't borrow, Ivy. You stole. Silence stretched between us. I'm not asking for much, she said finally. Just a place to crash. Just for a few nights. I turned, looked her dead in the eyes. I carried you for years. Covered your mistakes. Let you take credit for work you didn't do. I even let you stay in my life when you got between me and the one person I thought I could trust. She didn't argue. Just looked down. I'm not doing that anymore, I said. Her eyes widened. So that's it. That's it. I opened the door. She stood there for a long moment, searching my face for some flicker of old softness. But I had nothing left to give her. You made your choice, I said. Now live with it. She stepped out. I shut the door behind her. And this time I didn't feel a single ounce of guilt. 6 months later, I was in Tokyo, standing behind the black velvet curtain of an auditorium packed with over 2,000 attendees. The annual Global Tech Forum was the biggest event on our calendar, and this year, I was the keynote. The backstage crew bustled around me, adjusting headsets, checking timers, whispering updates in clipped Japanese. I glanced at the sleek screen behind the stage where the halo or logo rotated slowly in 3D. Underneath it read, Innovation. Integrity. Independence. My phone buzzed. I pulled it from my pocket, expecting a calendar ping. It was a message from Ivy. I know you won't read this. But I'm sorry. For everything. You were always the real one. If you ever want to talk, I'll listen this time. Unread. I didn't open it. Behind me, my assistant, Kira, stepped forward with a clipboard. 5 minutes, Arya. I nodded. Just then, I heard a familiar voice from the far side of the backstage lounge. Arya? I turned. My father stood there, wearing a pressed gray suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. He looked older, not in the hair or skin, but in the eyes. There was something quiet in them. Oh wait. I didn't know you'd be here, I said. I'm speaking on a panel about legacy innovation. He gave a sheepish smile. Celeste's idea, of course. I raised an eyebrow. Still her mouthpiece, huh? He chuckled lightly. Then his expression softened. She's trying to make amends. I think she regrets how it all went down. I studied him for a moment. Celeste never wanted a daughter, I said quietly. She wanted a mirror. And I never reflected what she valued. He looked down, nodding slowly. I should have seen more. Stood up more. Yeah, I said. You should have. He didn't argue. We stood in silence for a few seconds. Then Kira cleared her throat. 2 minutes. My father stepped back. You're doing amazing things, Arya. We're proud of you. Even if we never said it. I gave him a small, sad smile. That's the thing, Dad. I stopped needing to hear it. And I walked away. As I stood at the edge of the stage, heart steady, mic clipped to my collar, the lights dimmed and the announcer's voice boomed. Please welcome to the stage, acting CEO of Halo Core Technologies, Arya Sullivan. The curtain opened. Applause thundered like rain. I stepped forward, heels firm on the polished floor, and for the first time in months I didn't feel like I was fighting to be seen. I was the vision now. As the lights hit my face and the crowd rose to its feet, I checked my phone one last time. The message from Ivy still sat there. Unread.